If you've clicked on this video, I'm guessing that it's because you're not sure how much you should be spending on your marketing. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what the answers should be for your business. Truth is, most business owners do not know what they should be spending on their marketing, and it's one of the main reasons why their businesses stay small. Because most business owners think marketing, it's all about creativity. Well, let me tell you, creativity is important, but real marketing, successful marketing, is about creativity plus maths. And without the numbers and the maths, all you can do is guess. And when you guess, you tend not to grow. And so that's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through what is a pretty straightforward 7-step calculator that will show you exactly how much you can afford to spend on marketing in your business. So there's no more crossing your fingers and hoping. I'm just going to give you clarity, control, and confidence. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will have a number that could change the way you grow your business forever. Let's dive in. So the marketing spend calculator. The marketing spend calculator is 7 simple steps. Looks a little bit like this. There's a download available. If you click the link below, you can get that completely free of charge. The first step in our marketing spend calculator is for you to understand how much your average customer is worth to you. Now, that's typically quite a tricky question for business owners to answer. So I'm going to try and break it down for you. And to do that, I'm going to use 2 examples. And the first one, real story, this real example is a salon business. It's a beauty salon business, quite a large salon in one of the large cities in the UK. And their customers, I've rounded this up just to make the maths a little bit easier. But for the purposes of today, their average customer spends £100 every time they come in. Now, what that means is, just to be clear, some customers spend less than £100, some customers spend more than £100. But when they look at their average across a week or a month, in round numbers, it's £100 average spend. And in this particular salon business, their gross profit margin, their margin, is 50%. What that means is half of the money that comes in, so the £100, the £50 in this instance, is spent delivering the product, which is mainly about paying the therapists that actually give the treatments, etc., to the customers coming in the salon. Any consumables that are used, that sort of thing, accounts for, broadly speaking, half of the cost. So £100 average spend at 50% margin. It means that on average, each customer comes back into that salon 8 times a year. Now, some customers come more regularly. There's some that come every week or every fortnight. There's others that only come once or twice a year. But when we did the sums and worked it all out, the average is that a customer comes to this salon 8 times a year. So now we know the average spend, and we know the average frequency, the number of times they come. So we now, £100 spend 8 times a year means this salon gets £800 revenue from each customer on average. Some customers pay more, some customers pay a lot less, but the average is £800. And of that £800, 50% is profit margin after they've covered the costs of their therapists and their consumables. So it means that an average customer is worth £400 a year to this particular salon. Now, what you'll need to do is do these sums and go and look at the data, go and look at your Xero, your QuickBooks, or even your Excel spreadsheet, but go and look at the data for your business, and you'll need to answer these same numbers for your business. What is your customer's average spend? Don't guess. We're not about guessing. Guessing is bad. We're going to go and get the data and find out actually what it is. The way you work out your average spend, by the way, you look at your entire turnover for a period of time, could be a month, could be 6 months, could be a year, and then we look at how many customers do we serve. Divide one by the other, we get the average spend. Your accountant will tell you what your margin is. Your gross margin is the cost to deliver the service. It doesn't include your overheads or your profits. It's the cost that you incur to deliver the service. And then the frequency that customers come back. Now again, don't guess this, go and look at some data. In many ways, this first question might be the trickiest part of this marketing spend calculator. And because you've got to start with accurate information, because if you put garbage into this, you'll get garbage out. And if you get garbage out and you've got the wrong idea about what you should be spending on your marketing, then you're not going to end up with a business where you want it to be. So very, very important we get these numbers right. But for this particular salon, average customer is worth £400 a year, not in revenue, the revenue is £800 a year, £400 a year of contribution, gross profit for the business. We did know that customers on average stay for at least 3 years with this salon, so we could say that over 3 years, 3 lots of £400 is what the customer's worth £1,200 to us. But we're not going to look at a 3-year horizon today, as I'll explain in a minute. We're going to look at a 1-year horizon. So that £400 figure for the salon, very, very important. Now, I just want to give you one example here. So I've got a second one for you as well. And this one is an optician's business. A little small chain of opticians. They've got 3 shops in the east of England. And this optician, on average, when a customer buys things from them, the average spend is £500. Again, just to be clear, some customers spend a lot more on their glasses, some customers spend a lot less on their glasses. But the average, when we work it out mathematically, and I have rounded it just to make it easy for us today, but the average is £500. Now, opticians, great business to be in, very high margin business. Okay, 75% gross margin for an optician's business. That means that every time a customer spends £500, the customer is worth £375 for the optician's practice. So £500 of revenue at 75% margin gives us £375 of value for that customer. As we're putting up here, on average, of course, with an optician's, you don't go 8 times a year. No. On average, the customer comes back roughly once every 2 years. Some people come every year. Some people wait 3 years or 4 years. The average, when we worked it out, is 2 years. And you need to do the sums for your business. You can see there's exactly the same figures that we've worked out here for the opticians as it was for the salon owner, but the numbers are slightly different. That's why you'll have to do the numbers for your business. What's your average spend? What's your margin? What's the frequency that people come back to you? Once we've got those, we can work this through. So we know for the optician, average customer is worth £375, a new customer. Some customers are worth more than that. Some are worth less than that, but the average is £375. With an optician's business, historically, because it's been around quite a long time, this particular practice, we found that on average, customers stay for 6 years. What that actually means is there's 4 purchases, because the first purchase is at 0 when they first come in. They then come back after 2 years, 2 purchases now. They come back after 4 years, 3 purchases. And when they come back after 6 years, that's their 4th purchase. 4 purchases worth £375 on average, means a customer is worth something like £1,500, but that's over 6 years. We're not going to take that length of time into account when we're working out our marketing budget. What we're going to look at is this initial year 1 value to the business. I hope that made sense. You can play this back and watch it again if I went through it a little bit quickly for you, because you're going to want to work out these numbers for your business. So once we know how much a customer is worth, question number 1 in the marketing spend calculator, we can then look at question number 2. How much would you pay to get one of those customers? So a customer that for the opticians is worth £375 a year in the first year. For the salon owner, customer's worth £400 in the first year. What would you pay to get that customer? So let's look at the answer. And for the salon business, an average customer, remember, was worth £800 spend. £400 of that is contribution towards the business's overheads and profit in the first year. And obviously, they do stay typically longer than 1 year. For the optician's business, average customer spends £500, only once every 2 years, don't forget. That £500 higher margin, so it's worth £375 of contribution in the first year. And this would be a good rule of thumb, all right, for a business like an optician's or a salon. It might be slightly different for you, but broadly speaking, the maximum, so the absolute most you would spend to get a customer sensibly would be that first year contribution. Because what you do, if you spent the whole of the £400, you haven't lost any money because your margins covered the cost of providing the service. Okay, you haven't made any money either, but you have got a customer. And in both the case of these businesses, these customers on average stay for multiple years. So the maximum you would spend would be, in this case, £400 here, and for the opticians, you'd spend £375 to get a customer. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to rush out to spend that money, but now we've got an anchor, we've got a baseline. We can't spend any more than that. And as long as our marketing spend per customer comes in under this level here, we're in a position where we can actually sensibly grow this business. And this is how a professional business owner would think about both these two businesses. Right, I am prepared to spend maximum £400 to get a customer for my salon, £375 to get a customer for my optician's business. Now, both these numbers, I tell you now, having worked with thousands of business owners over the last 15 years, both these numbers are really high, or they'll feel really high to a typical salon owner or to a typical optician. Once you understand this number and you understand where it's come from, and I'll explain it more in a minute, once you understand this number and why this is the right answer, then what it does, it absolutely liberates you, and it gives you a massive competitive advantage, because so many of your competitors are thinking that they can only spend £40 or £50 to get a customer. And if you're prepared to spend £200, £300, £400 to get a customer, what you're able to do is get a lot more customers, because you understand the maths of marketing way better than most business owners do. This doesn't mean at this point, just to be clear, that we're going around throwing £50 notes around to try and lash the cash and spend the 400 quid or the £375, but we've now got a logical, sensible, objective framework for calculating our marketing spend. So we know if I'm the salon owner of this, it's a nice salon, this big salon, nice part of town, lots of customers, I would spend £400 to get the right customer, because they're going to be worth that much to me every year for multiple years. From an optician's basis, I absolutely would spend £375 to get the right customer, because they're going to be worth that much money to me for multiple years to come. And once I got clear on that, I can then start to proceed with the rest of the calculator. So I understood what a customer's worth to me and how much I would pay to get a customer, the first two questions, and then say, well, how many leads do we need in your particular business to get a customer? How many inquiries? How many people have to come in to what we call our marketing funnel? How many people have to ring us up or put an online inquiry in, whatever it is for your business? How many leads do we need to get a customer? And in this instance, both these businesses are quite straightforward in this regard. So in my salon, broadly speaking, half the people that contact the salon end up coming in for an appointment. So 50% of their leads or inquiries turn into an appointment. With the opticians, it's even better. 75% of people that ring up the opticians or fill in a little form on their website end up booking an appointment for an eye test. So what it says is, well, the salon needs 2 inquiries or leads to get a customer, because half the leads turn into appointments. Appointments spend money in a salon. For the opticians, well, they said that, well, we need 4 inquiries to get 3 eye tests. So I kind of understand that in whole numbers. When we work it down, what it means is they need 1.3 leads to get a customer. Does that make sense? So again, I'll leave the numbers up on the screen there for a minute, because 75% of leads end up booking an eye test. 50% of leads book an appointment in the salon. So we now know how many leads we need to get a customer. The answer's 2 for the salon. It's 1.3 for the opticians. That's the important part of our marketing spend calculator. So 2 is the answer there, 1.3 is the answer there. Next question, question 4. So, well, how much can you spend to get a lead? Now we're into the easy bits of the marketing spend calculator, because this is really just a question of taking the second answer that you had here, how much would you pay to get a customer, and divide it by how many leads you need to get a customer. So if we look at our example here with the salon, we know the salon would pay a maximum of £400 to get a customer, and they need 2 leads to get a customer. 400 divided by 2 means that the salon could spend £200 to get a lead. It's very important we understand what we can spend to get a lead, because leads are the currency of marketing. It's the most measurable bit of the maths. because things have to happen for leads to turn into customers, whereas leads are the first thing that we see. It's our lead metric when we start to understand how our marketing is going. So understanding what our cost per lead is really, really important. So for the salon, they could spend £200 to get a lead, the maximum. With the opticians, remember, they'd pay £375 to get a customer. They need 1.33 leads to get a customer, so 375 divided by 133, they could spend £281 to get a lead. Very important to understand these numbers, but that's the answer to our fourth question. Now, our fifth question in the calculator, it all comes together in a minute at the end. How many new customers do you want next month? Now, this is a little bit subjective, although, again, there's all sorts of elements will play a part in this, because part of it will look at, well, how much capacity have you got? One of the most powerful ways that we grow businesses here at Entrepreneur Circle is we understand what the capacity of the business is. So with the optician, for instance, if they're paying for an optometrist to do eye tests, and that optometrist is not full on the days that he or she is working, the business is paying for capacity because, we needed 6 eye tests today, we could have done 12. We can get another 6 eye tests in today for no more cost. So all that additional spend will go straight through to the bottom line. So one of the most important ways to understand how many more customers we need is to understand what our capacity is. Will be similar in the salon business. How many therapists or how much time of your therapist is not being used during the week. Because if we could at least just fill that, then the business becomes much more efficient and effective and the profits grow much more quickly. So there's a little bit of science towards this answer here, but it will vary hugely depending on the situation in each business. The important thing is you need to know the answer. And this recognition as a business owner that you're in control of this. This isn't just down to chance. It's not like, well, I'll take whatever the lottery gives me this week, because when you do that, you don't win very much, is the truth of it. In business, you absolutely have control as the business owner. In terms of, well, how many customers do you want next week or next month, particularly when you understand what you can spend to get them. So you have to answer this question. Now, in the case of our 2 examples here, the salon owner, when I was chatting with her, what she wanted was 30 new customers per month. Broadly speaking, if we had 1 extra customer a day, it would make a massive difference to our profitability because all the margin from those customers will go straight to the bottom line because she already had the capacity. She's got the therapists and the rooms and the space. If we could just get 30 more customers, average spend of £100 each, remember? So £100, that's £3,000 of income at a 50% margin. It's an extra £1,500 a month straight on the bottom line is what those customers would bring in. The optician wants 15 new customers per month, so smaller and a bit more effective and efficient. So they were just chasing 15. You need to understand what you actually want per month from your marketing spend for new customers. This is not the total number of customers, this is the new customers that we want our marketing to generate. And again, this is all part of the maths bit of the marketing. So once we understand that, we're into the final 2 parts of the marketing spend calculator. Well, how many leads do you need next month to get that many customers? This is really straightforward. It's effectively the answer to question number 3 times by that answer just a moment ago to question number 5. So if we look at that for the salon, they need 2 leads to get a customer, was the 3rd question. And the 5th question was, how many customers do you want next month? I want 30. So they actually need 2 times 30, 60 leads next month to get my 30 customers. Now, the optician needs 1.3 leads to get a customer. They only want 15 new customers next month. 1.3 times 15 gives us 20 leads needed by the optician next month. So we've got 2 businesses here now. One's chasing 60 leads next month. The other would like 20 leads next month. Takes us to the final question. Well, how much marketing spend do they need to make those things happen, to get the customers that they've said that they wanted? And again, very, very straightforward. In simple terms, it's the answer to the previous question times by the answer to question 4. Let me show you what I mean here. So salon needs 60 leads a month. That's what we've established to get the 30 customers. They can spend a maximum of £200 per lead, £400 per customer. So 60 times 200, the marketing spend for the salon will be £12,000 a month. But that would at maximum. That's the maximum they would spend. Now we'd like to try and do it could we do it for 10? Could it for 8? But even at 12 grand, we can still profitably grow this business, provided, of course, we've got the cash available, which is a separate issue altogether. But at least let's understand what a professional business owner at the helm of your business would be doing to grow the business and take it where you want it to be. So that we've done there's science and maths through the whole piece here. For the optician, needs 20 leads a month. They can spend £281 per lead, remember? So do the sum again, 20 times 281. Their marketing budget will be £5,600. So absolute black and white, really crystal clear. All is explained in a very simple marketing spend calculator. You can play around with this, but there is science to every element here that I've talked with you about. And understanding the science doesn't mean that you have to then go off and start to spend that money. But what it does mean is that you understand the levers and the dynamics in your business, and you absolutely know what your marketing budget could be. Because by spending that first year contribution, that's what we've done, we've spent the first year's contribution to get the customer, which for these businesses is the right thing to do, because both these businesses have multiple years of duration with the customers. If you were selling kitchens, for instance, where typically someone buys once, then clearly you wouldn't spend all the margin from that first sale to get the customer. You would apply other criteria and work it through. If you want the download, there's a little link below where you can click and get that completely free of charge to help you out. Let us know how you get on with it, doing the sums and doing the maths. This is how professional business owners think about their marketing spend, and now you know precisely what your marketing budget should be. So if you've gone through that process and downloaded your marketing spend calculator, you now know exactly what you can safely and confidently spend to get more customers into your business. If you want to keep using this, then you probably should. As I said, there's a download available in the description below. Just click the link. It's yours to grab and use whenever you need it. If this has helped you, by all means, hey, look, drop a comment, let us know if this has been useful content. And if you want more proven ways to grow your business with real numbers, not guesswork, then just hit subscribe, because we put these videos out on a regular basis. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.